So one of the biggest games that basically nobody's talking about is called Where Winds Meet. And when I say biggest, I mean literally, like it's just freaking gigantic. Where Winds Meet is an upcoming game from a Chinese developer, and it is basically a massive single player game that also features co-op, and I believe it's also free to play, and it's just like freaking gigantic and crazy ambitious and everything. And I'm going to show you some gameplay. Let me show you. So IGN recorded some footage of it that we're going to look at as well. And I mean, you guys know how I feel about IGN's capture and how they tend to put some of this stuff together. But I'll show you some of the stuff that I've also captured myself, which I think will do a better job of demonstrating this. Now, full disclosure, I will, and at least I plan on doing a dedicated video with this team talking about this game on the big channel. And in all likelihood, that video they will sponsor to put that video up on the big channel. As part of this whole process, I asked to play the playtest myself to see if the game was something I'd be comfortable talking about, which is pretty common for us, where I only will talk about a game if I like it or if I think that it's worth talking about. And they were like, okay, yeah, no. And I was like, I have to be allowed to say whatever I want to say. And they said, okay, whatever, check out the game first. And that's where we kind of started with. So they gave me access to the playtest, which is available now. You can check out the game, like if you're invited to that playtest. I believe it's like closed, but you can get an invite if you're in their like Discord and stuff. But basically what this game intends to be is like just a freaking gigantic, again, single player co-op action adventure game that also has like some role play elements, action RPG elements. It aims to have a combat system that's challenging and also pretty scalable, as you can tell with like big boss fights and encounters and stuff. It aims to take inspiration from everything from Soulsborne games to also Assassin's Creed. It also, like, all of the paid elements are, because as I mentioned, I believe they're going for free to play with this. All of the paid elements are cosmetic only. They have sworn up and down that none of it will be gameplay affecting and will only affect the visuals and cosmetics. And it just seems like a totally crazy, ambitious project that is like ridiculously like hard to pull off. That's basically what it sounds like. This big dude, my goodness. And as I said, I've played it. My intention was to put in like a few hours and get a feel for it. I've accidentally spent a lot more time than that. Playing like a lot more time. There's a lot here. I mean, there's gigantic boss fights. There's crazy, for a playtest, the level of polish is also kind of ridiculous. I've been thoroughly impressed by it. It has, you know, a combat system that is a melding of a bunch of different stuff. It has, of course, like perfect parries and stuff. As you'd expect, a bunch of different weapons. So at times it might feel like Blade Point Naraka, but then at other times it feels reminiscent of like Ghost of Tsushima with different like stances based on the weapons you're using. It also has like the dual swords that can feel kind of like dual blades in Monster Hunter. Like they've just taken little nods from all sorts of different projects and different games all over the place. And it's hard to describe because it really is a melding of like 5 or 6 different games and genres. It's just very, very weird. Like, as you can see, you're trying to break the enemy's posture, which is this blue bar, and then the health is, of course, the red one. The red attacks you can do perfect parries on. The gold ones you can't. This particular time I was going through with dual blades, which again is reminiscent of sort of Monster Hunter with the dual blades. But as you can tell, if you can perfect parry stuff, you can get right up in the face. And like, this is just one boss fight out of like, I don't even know how many, like a dozen, 2 dozen in the play test that they have. Like, it's ridiculous. And each one of them is totally different from each other. Like, they're all completely separate. And there's a good amount of, let me see if I can find another example. Oh, this was also funny. There's different mounts. This is one of the cosmetics that you can choose. So of course, most people will play with horses. I found out you can use a goose as a mount, and you can ride a goose. That's it. That's the whole thing. One of the ways you can upgrade the mounts also is to add other geese. So you can have like a flock of geese as your mount, and you ride on one, and you just ride around with it. Like, what more do I need to say? You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. But as you can see in this IGN footage as well, this is another one of the big bosses that they have. And this is a different weapon. This is like the fan that I've not messed with. But this also the thing that's popping up with E, that's one of the accessibility options, which is why it's really funny IGN is using it, because there is an accessibility option in the settings. If you play on easy mode, it turns on. And basically, when they go in there with an attack that can be parried, it slows time and prompts you with E. Which is like, it's the easy mode, which is why it's really funny to see it. I tried turning it on to see like, okay, like how forgiving is it? Dude, it like makes the combat kind of a joke. But if you need it, you can use it. Again, it's why it's so funny to see IGN using it. But anyway, this particular weapon they're using, you know, is the fan, and it's very different from the stuff that I've used. But they have, you know, long swords, spears, swords, dual blades, all sorts of things. These different abilities that can freeze enemies, or that can stun them, or there's even some that can throw enemies. There's a ton of different stuff that can be utilized. And it scales pretty well. So if you want it to be really, really difficult, you can do that, and they'll reward you with like greater XP payouts and greater materials and things. So it can be very easy or very difficult depending on what you want. But honestly, like, I've just been really impressed. I told them after playing it, I was like, honestly, like, this is probably the most impressed for one I've ever been with a free-to-play game like this. I'm thoroughly impressed that they've managed to pull off a free-to-play single-player game that is a melding of all these different components. It's very much a Chinese game in terms of the narrative. Like, it's I forget what they call it, wuxia or WUXIA. It's one of those games where it's all about chivalry and kind of knighthood and that type of thing. It's similar to a lot of other games you might have played like that in this style. But like, funnily enough, and this is the other piece, I kind of felt like I was playing a alternative dimension Assassin's Creed game a lot, in like a good way, where like it felt like the modern era of Assassin's Creed, where it's like big and they are trying to be very narrative with it. It did not feel like one of these Chinese like free-to-play games, which so often, you know, you hop in them and it's just like a bunch of, you know, I don't even know what you'd call it. It's like just a lot of grinding and a lot of, you know, crazy over monetized stuff. It just felt like a really ambitious open world adventure game that happens to be free to play and crazy. Like, it was really cool. How's localization? Very good question. So as of right now, at least the version I played, it's still a playtest, so it's still working. Like, did you see that guy? Watch. It's still a playtest, so things like that will happen. So I don't know if the plans will change or what will adjust, but as of right now, it is like you can get subtitles, text, all of that stuff is in English. The voice acting is all in Chinese, like it's not in English. The performances are all very good. For somebody that can't speak the language, it seems well done to me. So like, just watch. This is when you walk into a boss fight. It's like all the boss fights have little cinematic lead-ins and stuff. And then he actually curb stomped me. I was like, oh God, I wasn't ready for that. This guy ended up being quite difficult. But yeah, it's monetized through, you asking how is it monetized? It's monetized, as far as I'm aware, through cosmetics. So, you know, of course, a lot of different skins and stuff, as you'd expect. Headpieces or dresses if you're playing as a female, or outfits if you're playing as male. So lots of cosmetics, and it's still a playtest, so I don't know exactly how the pricing will bear out, but they have said and mentioned in like 15 different places it is not pay to win. It is only like cosmetics that they are selling. They do not want players to have a different experience in terms of gameplay based on whether they paid. They just want you to be able to get different skins if you want to support them financially that way. Otherwise, again, I believe the intention is to go free to play with it. It's just very, very, very ambitious. And honestly, like after playing through it, like there's still a crap ton of stuff that I've not seen, like even these little like inspirations from like Breath of the Wild games. As you can see there, like they've just taken a bunch of different nods from a bunch of different games and put it into one package that, they're not even showing some of the traversal stuff, but there's also like, all sorts of movement abilities to like double and triple jump up buildings and then to free climb up and like run up the walls. And there's environmental puzzles tied to all of that. There was one just like I was running through a field while playing it, and I came across like this guy who's just mourning his wife who's passed away. And like, you just encounter that. I was like, what the hell is it? Like, what am I playing? Like, it was blowing my mind. It was absolutely very, very impressive. Genuinely very, very, very impressive. And again, it's a game that basically nobody is talking about. I think because it looks like a lot of other games at first glance that we've heard of, and you just kind of, it's another one, another drop in the bucket. It's called Where Winds Meet, just in case you're not familiar. But yeah, it's genuinely very impressive. I've been thoroughly impressed by it. And hearing that they are trying to put it in an offering and in a style and a sort of package that historically Eastern studios like this, they will only do it for like the big live service stuff with like gacha mechanics, where they'll put it free to play and it's a massive game and it's huge and very popular, very successful, makes a ton of money, but it's all live service and it's all, tied to gacha stuff. With this, it just seems like they've decided, instead of going live service, gacha, whatever, they're like, what if we just made like a gigantic, massive single player game that people can also play in co-op if they want to go in like parties of 4 and fight those big bosses? We can do that too, fully supported. And what if we did that, but packaged it as free to play and made money back through cosmetics? And they're trying it and they seem pretty confident in it. And honestly, after playing it, I kind of get why. Like I'm actually very impressed by it. Like it's actually pretty crazy. As for the exact lineup for what they plan on doing with like consoles and stuff, I'm not actually sure. I know that they currently do support controller. So if you want to play on controller, then you can. I'm not sure. I guess we could Google it if their plan is to bring it to console. Their plan is to scale it on PC, PlayStation 5, iOS, and Android in the same package. And that is with, again, like this is what it looks like on PC. And they say that they are able to scale it to mobile as well. Which, bear in mind, every building in this game you can enter, apparently. Like, apparently every building in this game you can go into. They all have interiors. And they say that they can get this running on an Android device or an iPhone. I don't even know how that's possible. But we've seen it with some of these games. Some of these Chinese developers are able to get games running on mobile, and you're just like, how on earth did you manage that? Like, how did you do that? I just don't get it. But apparently they're able to do it. Oh yeah, these are some of the it's so crazy. This is another bit of me riding on my goose. But yeah, apparently this can run on mobile is what they say, which I've not seen the mobile version, so maybe it definitely looks like mobile, but I don't know, man. I don't even know. So after trying it myself, I was like, I will happily talk about this on the big channel. I'm quite impressed. So you asked me to talk about the gameplay preview or whatever. I've tried it and I'm actually quite impressed with it. And I mean, goose mount. I honestly thought it was a bug when I saw in the menu that you could play, like you could swap your mount to a goose. I was like, oh no, I found my first big bug. Why is a goose in the mount menu? I selected it. It's like, oh no, you literally just ride on the back of a goose. It's like, I can't believe it. Can't believe it. It's ridiculous. So yeah, that's Where Winds Meet. I think that's also one to keep an eye on because it's just like ridiculously ambitious. It's being made by Everstone. Have they done anything like this before? It's a NetEase company. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it's ridiculous. It's crazy.